In the first decade of the Putin's presidency, the Russian Orthodox Church was probably the most powerful in her post-Soviet history. In the 1990s, she was still struggling for the recognition of her role and place in the Russian society. Nowadays, as I've claimed on this channel repeatedly, her real political influence is much overrated. However, in the late 2000s and early 2010s, the Church enjoyed the most privileges and the most impact on the state legislature, for instance, with the introduction of the Criminal Code article on the insult of religious feelings right after the Pussy Riot case. Enjoying that much power, the church leadership attempted to reintroduce religious education in school, as it was mandatory in the Russian Empire. However, Russia was, and still is to this day, a secular state by the constitution, and religion is separated from education. There have been a lot of heated debates involving both the church leaders and an anti-clerical, anti-religious and atheist communities, back then still vibrant and active. Obviously, the critics saw that as an expansion of power by the church and proselytizing to children from an early age. They pointed out to people of other faiths and especially non-religious people whose rights were going to be infringed upon. The proponents of the reform argued that the role that Orthodox Christianity had played in the Russian history and culture was too significant to neglect in the school education, and that the subject would not be in any way evangelizing children who are not Orthodox Christians. After much discussion on all levels, both formal and informal, the Ministry of Education and Science came up with somewhat a compromise solution. First, the subject was going to be not about a religion per se, but about culture. Second, other religions recognized by the legislature as traditional to Russia should be represented as alternative models. Third, there should be a secular option too. Thus, they came up with 6 modules to choose from: Orthodox culture, Islamic culture, Buddhist culture, Judaic culture, religious cultures of the peoples of Russia, and secular ethics. The subject was introduced in the 4th grade. It was mandatory, but parents could choose from these 6 options. It was first introduced as an experiment in 19 regions in 2010 and then all over Russia in 2012. Since the inception, the whole idea revealed even more problems than expected before. The textbooks were promptly prepared, but the main problem was teaching. Most of the schools lacked teachers competent in any of these subjects. The course's emphasis was culture, and during the heated debates it was emphasized that no priest or other cleric can teach in public schools. Hence, according to the mandatory requirement of teaching this subject, there should be a sufficient number of teachers in every school throughout the country. Obviously, there were scholars of religion in universities who could teach something like that. But there was no way they would, because of their own workload and the number of schools all over the country compared to just a few experts in the study of religion. The only viable solution was to train some of the teaching staff already working in schools. The 4th grade is the last year of elementary school in the Russian educational system. Hence, the teachers who already taught math, grammar, reading, nature, and other subjects had to pass additional extracurricular training to teach one more subject. Needless to say how formal this training was in most cases. More often than not, teaching secular ethics was considered much easier and more inclusive. Hence, this was the only module available in most cases. Some schools managed to arrange the majority religion in their region as well, but that was pretty much it. If parents wanted to choose, for instance, Buddhist or Judaic module, as it was their right to do so, they would face much pressure, including sometimes threats from the school administration, to go with the flow and to choose what was really available. Most teachers and children eventually saw the subject as one more useless addition to their already overloaded schedules. This is the only subject that is not graded, with a pass-fail system, and everyone involved either explicitly or implicitly considers it a waste of time. As someone who worked as a school teacher for 2 years and had my kids in the Russian school before we moved to Finland, I can say that most of the problems with the school education in Russia, and there are many, pale in comparison to the general overload. Both teachers and children are overloaded with subjects, homework, and many new additions from the Ministry of Education that's supposed to raise loyal, moral, and patriotic children. Please like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. I see you all next time.